So I'm back with this um, chapter about rebuilding Moscow. It says, despite ongoing raids and harsh conditions, the Muscovites had rebuilt their town. Moscow was back and growing. Yes, like I was saying before, from my understanding, the um, Mongols were not. It was not that they were not strong, but they didn't. Um, they keep finding when they found the Russians they had like better weapons, and that's why they were unable to continue to advance, and that's why Russia won over them. Um, Many countries have done this many times. England did it, and Russia did it, and uh, the United States have done it. They say that no, but yes, uh, because like right now at this moment they say Puerto Rico is is a territory, but in the other older days they used to say that Puerto Rico was a colony. They're just trying to confuse the people because they got him in hold. But let's continue with this.
By 1303, Moscow controlled land that encompassed the entire flow of the Moskva River. Its ambitions didn't end there. Moscow continued to expand its borders through its wealth rather than warfare. Its tactic was to buy land from bankrupt rulers, acquiring entire towns and villages in the process. As Moscow was still a vassal of the mighty Mongol Empire, it had to send envoys to pay them tribute. And Moscow's ever-expanding borders meant more and more revenue for the Mongols. But not everyone was content with the rise of Moscow.
City to state.
As Moscow grew in power and influence, its Grand Prince, Dmitry Ivanovich, reinforced its vulnerable defenses. Its wooden fortress, the Kremlin, was rebuilt. This time, in stone. But even stone walls didn't deter its enemies. By 1368, Lithuania saw rapidly expanding Moscow as a real threat. Joining forces with the Principality of Tver, they set out to challenge its dominance. They attacked Moscow. But the stone walls held, and the enemy retreated. Tension between the factions refused to die down. In 1370, Moscow marched on territories belonging to both Tver and Lithuania, igniting a full-blown war. Years of bloody conflict ensued, until Moscow's Grand Prince Dmitry Ivanovich finally defeated both enemies. Yet Moscow was still a vassal of the Mongol Empire, which still demanded tribute. Moscow must keep up the payments or face retribution.
Tribute 1375. But as you can see, they keep growing. Moscow keeps growing. Like I told you before, Mongols they grew, and then after that, the Mongols, even though Russia had to give them money, Moscow started growing, and now Moscow is like the big thing, you know. Let's do this part. As Moscow territory grew, it owed more and it owed more and more tribute to the Golden Horde. So that means to Moscow. I mean to the Mongols. Prince Dmitry would need a constant flow of taxes from his allies in order to appease the Khan. Okay.
Trade routes between Rus settlements supported a vibrant economy, which in turn allowed Moscow to pay forward tribute to the Golden Horde. If Moscow was to avoid a Mongol attack, Dmitry would have to meet the Horde's tribute demands before the Khan's patience expired.
They will grow. Pay gold in tribute. 0. Pay gold in tribute. 0 of 1300. So,
Moscow's primary means of raising the taxes demanded by the Horde was through trade with nearby Rus towns. But Prince Dmitry would have to keep his traders safe from raids by opportunistic bandits that stalked the countryside.
We need to get gold. Where do we get gold from? Where's the gold? There's no gold. Maintain trade routes with settlements.
While
Collect
Moscow's
taxes from
trade was
neighboring
strong,
settlements.
Dmitry could bolster his income if he could locate additional trade partners.
So, let me see. Okay. Additional trade partners. So, that means I may have to send... Oh, come on. I may have to send people from here.
Наказе будут.
Ладно, есть.
Брань будет.
Благо есть.
Слушайте
Trade
наказ.
partners. I have to send gold payments to the Mongols. Okay. Okay. So I have to find trade.
Уразумех.
Let's see what happens here, because I don't know what I have to do in this area. Tip longer trade routes regenerate more gold for each trip. Okay.
Есть. Слушайте все. Слушай наказ, Нов.
Okay, 3. Uh-huh. So I need to find another partner. Where?
Следую наказам.
Okay, I found one.
Кто стреляет?
Следую наказам.
Возможно, сие есть.
There's stones over here.
Сделано будет.
Pay gold in tribute. Maintain trade routes with settlements. Okay.
Trade routes brought wealth, but safe passage was not a given with bandits stalking the roads. Increasing Moscow's income required locating additional trade partners. To do so, the Muscovites needed to scout the land in search of new settlements.
Напрежь поскору.
Нападаю!
Брань будет. Жаловаться нельзя.
Меня поражают!
Слушаюсь. Нас есмь смерть.
Here's another one. Here's another one.
Ворон приедет!
Hey, hey.
Сделано
Here's another
будет.
one.
Напрежь войни. Идти надобно помалу. Что есть трудного?
What do I do here?
Слушай наказ, Нов. Идти надобно помалу. Что есть трудного?
As the deadline for payment of tribute approached, Dmitri had to quicken his efforts to collect the necessary taxes.
I'm going to see under payment soon. So what's going on over here now?
Наказе новее суть. Яко угодно есть. Добро есть.
Let me do something here. Let me see if
Приуготовляйтесь
this is what I
все.
need.
With the
Objective
Golden Horde
completed.
paid, the Muscovites could concentrate on expanding their territory until the next payment was due.
Okay. So maintain trade routes with settlements. So, let me see. These
Слушайте.
people here, let me see if they go over here.
Исправите надобно.